The question is, as on the order paper. Gillian Keegan.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. It's a pleasure to follow the Honourable Member for Manchester Central, and also to thank her for sponsoring the debate and for all the wonderful work that she does as Chair of the APPG on nursery schools. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to make a small contribution to the debate. And I want to start by drawing attention to the brilliant work that the staff and support teams of maintained nursery schools do to provide some of the best early years education to our young children in this country. It is no coincidence that almost 98% of maintained nursery schools are rated as good or outstanding by Ofsted. These schools are key drivers of social mobility and provide exceptional services and resources for children within their care. They offer superb support networks for both children and their families, and they deliver an excellent education that allows for greater personal development. Chichester Nursery School in my constituency is a brilliant example, and I visited Chichester Nursery School recently and I was so impressed with the wonderful facilities and workshop areas. I was not at all surprised to find it was rated outstanding in their latest Ofsted report. They really are first rate, and it was clear that the children were fully engaged with a wide range of enriching activities both inside and outside of the classroom. They had crafts, technology, painting, dressing up, woodwork, where 3-year-olds were filing and cutting, sawing wood, cooking, mud kitchens, and a variety of educational activities which would rival any household in the country. And that's what was so wonderful to see, because many of the children in that nursery school may not have all of that at home. They may not be able to learn to ride a bike age 2 and 3, but they were doing it in Chichester Nursery School. And the staff were clearly eagerly engaged in tailoring each educational experience to the need of their pupils. And it's this level of care and support which is giving these children the best start in life, and the personalised care that they offer at the nursery school in Chichester is certainly helped by the fact that all teachers need a level 3 teaching qualification, and highly qualified staff naturally means higher operating costs. I was recently contacted by Ruth Campbell, who's the new head teacher at Chichester Nursery School, and she raised the same concerns we've heard about the future of maintained school funding. The announcement in 2017 to sustain funding for maintained schools through to 2020 was warmly welcomed and amounted to just over £60 million per year for these schools. But at the time, it provided certainty to head teachers like Ruth, who could produce medium-term plans for staffing allocations and the ability to calculate what resources and equipment the school could afford for each academic year. However, the current uncertainty of future funding arrangements beyond 2020 means maintained nursery schools cannot adequately plan ahead, and we all need to be able to plan. For this academic year, Chichester Nursery School has already had to make tough decisions on how to proceed with their budget and has had to say goodbye to some very valued members of staff. For any job to remain safe, guarantees of being able to meet payroll demands are essential. Teachers like those at Chichester Nursery School are essential in providing and influencing the minds and experiences of our young children, and I hope that the Department for Education can clarify the funding arrangements as soon as possible. Maintained nursery schools need to plan, and teachers and staff need to have their minds put at rest. In the event that this doesn't happen, Ruth has already warned me she will be unable to meet the current costs of her staff. The equivalent of a full-time teacher, a nursery nurse and a full-time nursery assistant would be lost for the 2020-2022 academic year. This would, of course, affect the number of pupils the school could care for, and Chichester Nursery School would need to reduce their intake by 52 children. This would be a devastating loss to the local community. Maintained nursery schools are so important in helping some of the most disadvantaged children in our country and improving social mobility. 64% of these schools are based in the 30% most deprived areas in England, and they are simply life-changing. Maintained nurseries provide a unique range of expertise, and the government has a good record of supporting them so far, whether that's the Fairer Early Years National Funding Formula or the requirement for local education authorities to pass on 95% of received funding directly to the provider. And we do understand the need to have value for money in our public services. But getting the early years right for children is the most important investment we can make, and I'm sure everybody in this chamber would agree with that. Supporting young children to develop and their families in their somewhat busy lives is an essential role that maintained nurseries provide to our communities. And I hope as we get closer to the end of the guaranteed funding, the government can offer a meaningful solution for long-term funding arrangements to keep the jewel in the crown of early years development, which is maintained nursery schools. Thank you.
Stephen.